welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we have another video on the Dagger, specifically how you should be farming it. So for those of you who are currently unaware, we recently had it announced that we're getting this Dorito of a ship in game, and it's going to be really important, not necessarily right now, but it's going to be a requirement for the Leviathan here shortly, along with a few other ships that have yet to come out. That being said, there's currently a galactic chase going on, depending on when your daily reset this is really important. I know we're going to get a lot of comments either in Discord or in the comment section. When is the event starting? It is on your daily reset for May 26th. So whenever that is, that's when this is going to hit. Don't worry if you don't see it yet. It probably just means your daily reset hasn't kicked in and you'll see it shortly. That being said, we've already kind of talked about hoarding energy. At this point, that's pretty much gone. But what I want to talk about today is, you guessed it, it's another spreadsheet. But with that being said, what do you need to do to get this unlocked at 7 stars? Or maybe what do you need to do to get it unlocked at 5 or 6 stars, depending on what you're after. So we have the breakdown here for what everything looks like as far as what you need to do and what is wise for your account. So the one thing that is important before we even get into this is to note, the community has essentially decided and found out that it has a 3% drop rate per energy. That's really important because that means that you can go and you can farm whatever node you want out there, and you have an equal chance for the Dagger to drop. And 3% is pretty good. For reference, the Defender that was previous to this, it was at 4, which is better, but this chase is also lasting for a total of 9 days. So once we have that information and we plug it into our spreadsheet that we have over here, we can find out just how many refreshes or how much energy you need to spend to be able to get all the way up to that 7-star unlock. So when we look at this here, we see that if you do absolutely no refreshes, assuming you did a little bit of hoarding, you can actually get a 4-star unlock right away. So really, no matter what you're doing, as long as you're spending your energy, you're showing up, you're getting those free 45 energy refresh things that happen once a day, then you're probably going to get a 4 stars. And that's, I guess, probably only a good idea if you're really short on crystals in general and you just never do fleet energy refreshes. So would not recommend that for the majority of people. There's going to be a certain amount that are going to fall into that. Next up, if you are willing to do the 50 crystal refreshes every single day, you will hit the 5-star unlock really easily. Like the exact shard count here is 174 on average. So that's pretty good. Like, I would recommend that most people do that, even if they don't even care about the Leviathan, just because it's really stinking good value. Number one, the 50 refreshes on fleet, I personally think are good value in general, because you can farm not only gear 12 pieces, which I realize are now through MK1, or rather MK2, but even then, like, you look at the furnace node, every other single piece of gear on that node is salvageable. So there's ways that this is just really good value in general, and then getting ship shards, even if you don't really have any plans to use the ship for years, that's still pretty good value for the 50s. The 100s, this is for anyone, in my opinion, that wants to get the Leviathan in the next year. Like, you're probably not going to get it at launch. You're probably not getting red crate immediately. You're just kind of getting by, but like, it's really good value. If you want the Leviathan anytime in the next year and you don't want to have to go on the node, because the node rate is not nearly as good as this, at least not for no refreshes, 50s, and the 100 crystal refreshes that you're using here. By the way, I guess I should really use more visuals here. What I'm referring to are the refreshes that you get through this guy up here. You can see that I can't currently refresh because I'm kind of hoarded out of my mind right now. Once you pass 1,000, it doesn't let you do it again. But you click on this, you get your 50s, you get your 100s, you go and choose whatever random node. And I guess this is a little bit out of order. We should really be staying on the spreadsheet. But this is the node I'm referring to that's just really good in general for fleet. The furnaces, as you can see, are pretty important. They're needed on a number of characters. I do have a lot because I pretty much exclusively hit this node. But on top of that, every single one of these can be turned into other relic materials. So really, really stinking good. But as I already mentioned, back to our spreadsheet. So just to recap, if you're not doing any refreshes, I'm guessing you still don't have crystals. The 50s are really important in general, in my opinion. Those should be done by everyone. If you want the Leviathan within the next year, you should be doing the 100s. And if you want the Leviathan at launch, the 200s, it's so weird saying this because 200 crystal refreshes to me, that shouldn't be good value, but it is. And the reason why is nobody should be buying any pack for this ship, like for any reason, just because the Leviathan isn't even here. Like, it's been announced, we don't have a kit, and we know that we can't even get it until at least a month and a half from now, because we're only in month 2 of the conquest, where we're currently farming the Fury, which is another ship that's needed for the Leviathan. So we're not even going to talk about pack raids, because there's literally no reason to do that at all. That being said, the next step after them coming out in packs is for these shards to be available in shipments. And if we look down here, shipment price for shards is about 100 crystals per shard. If you're doing the 200 crystal refreshes, on average, you're getting about 3.6 shards. And, you know, do the math. 200 for one shard, or sorry, 200 for 3 shards, or 100 for one. 3 is bigger. So ultimately, what you're going to be paying is 56 crystals per shard, even within the 200 area. So again, if you want this character at launch, the most economical way to get this is to just fork over the crystals right away during this galactic chase all 9 days. It is worth noting you will not have to do the 200s every day. If we add up all of the shards that you get from hoarding energy, from refreshes, from daily energy, 100s, 200s, everything, you get 401. An unlock, not even an unlock, sorry, a max ship, which is needed, by the way, that has been confirmed, it only needs to be 330. So what I would recommend, if you're really gung-ho on getting this at launch, then start doing the 50s, 100s, and 200s and see how your drop rate is. Because what I don't want you to do is get close and you're like, oh, I only have to do these for, let's say, for the 5 days. You wait till the last 4, you get a really crappy drop rate those last 4 days, and you have absolutely no way to catch up, and you end up like 5 or 10 shards short, or you have to go into the 400s, which gross. So that's pretty much the idea for this. This probably isn't for everyone, different from our last video. I think the hoarding was just really good value in general, because you were going to get them at a cheaper price than you ever would. This does become a little bit more intensive, because these prices are just not super sustainable. To hoard energy really shouldn't cost you almost anything if you're already doing the 50s, whereas a lot of people don't just have the crystal sitting around to be able to do the 100 and 200 crystal refreshes before the ship even goes farmable. Like, that's a lot for 9 days straight. I realize that is really not viable for everyone out there. So it depends on your crystal income, depends on how much you have banked, and then ultimately, like I said, this really should revolve around is, when are you intending to unlock this ship? If you're not getting Fury, this is just isn't on your radar. You don't need the 7 stars. I really think the 6-star is really good, because then you can finish up the other 30 or whatever, the other 100 shards 2 or 3 months from now, and that'll only take you like 2 or 3 months, I guess. So overall, there's some pretty good value here to be found, but ultimately it depends on where you're at. That's actually going to decide what you do. So thank you everyone for watching. Appreciate it. And until next time, stay awesome.